This week on the League of Legends, we've got a brand new character that we're totally talking about the definite week that she comes out. Followed very quickly by combinations of runes and other sorts of fun junk that you had to deal with while leveling up. And finally, throwing small furry creatures to summon a large furry creature. It's the Poro King event for the Snowdown Showdown. All this and more on the Spazda Gaming League of Legends show.
This is Water Elemental.
And this is Axis.
And this is Bel-Air.
Wait, what?
Bel-Air.
Who the hell are you?
Just call me fucking Bell.
I don't know. Where did you come from?
I was your friend all along on the show. See, you and me and this
And we're here today to
fine
talk
person
about
here.
everyone's favorite MOBA style battle game, Rek'sai. Has anyone played with her at all? I don't know that I've seen her.
I've seen her like in the past week and a half. I've seen her twice, and they're on the enemy team. And
what a joke! Okay, so we talked about this a lot last week. Run at things doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't work.
You need hard CC, you need slows, and you need stickability. If not,
Well,
you need mitigation.
one of those at least.
Stickability.
Don't you talk about my stickability.
So Rek'sai, she can tunnel at them, and then she can do an amount of true damage, and then die.
Don't forget the knockup, if she manages to get it.
Well, she can not do damage on her way there, and then knock them up, yes.
Hey, she's very mobile. She can get to places and die as soon as she gets there.
She sounds like she's the ultimate trolling champion.
So Rek'sai, the true damage is nice. She can stand up and duel things,
And she has very fast
but
clear
after that duel, she's dead. Like, it's not like you're playing Darius or Garen, where you win that duel, and then you go and fight another guy.
Yeah, you don't get to walk away from that fight and then continue fighting. You have to go back to base, or you have to go back to jungle and farm. And
Yeah, it's really shoddy.
Her amount of sustain is very limited.
Well, no, she doesn't have mana. She's fine there. So
no amount of sustain.
Oh, an amount of sustain.
Yes.
I thought you said a nano machine.
No.
So overall, I didn't look at her and be like, this is so fun. She has an attack modifier and a ranged attack. Oh my god, the blindness.
Yeah.
The blindness is so bad.
Hey, we're going to put the skill shot, her only range poke ability, on the skill that takes away 90% of your vision.
I feel like I'm Lando Calrissian and I'm trying to shoot down at the pit of Carcoon.
Good luck.
And it's just, I thought you were blind. I can see much better now. Just fire it towards our base.
It's the Lisa and the Blind Monkey just start throwing friends into your nexus and kill it.
Oh, jeez.
But no,
This is the real blind monk champion.
yeah, this is where having so many skills is a downfall. They designed around having all these cool mechanics, but they don't mesh well with each other. And as far as a champion goes, there's not enough to keep a person playing. I feel bad for people that bought the skin for this, because honestly, this character's not going to see play unless they do a dramatic overhaul.
A dramatic overhaul indeed.
It's over dramatic and fantastic. It's dramatic.
It's Andraste's dramatic. Which, everybody, Everybody? So,
See, we're trying to avoid talking about this because every time it just puts us in this rage.
we're stupid is what we are. So overall, let's just sort of go over this by the numbers. Passive, Fury, Etzer sustain. It's out of combat sustain, pretty garbage.
Unless you feel like just dipping down into Burrow, which means you're reduced damage in the first place.
Queen's Wrath. Next 3 basic attacks do bonus physical damage in a cleave. This would be cool if she could stick to her target. Prey Seeker, which is the ult, which is when she's burrowed, you have to fire a blind shot at circles on the map and hope that they didn't move a little bit. I've tried to use this. I've seen people try to use this. It's hard, and like we said last week,
You can't judge a hitbox by little dots.
yeah, and the thing about the mechanics is, even if you master the skill, this is a skill that will not help you with other characters. You're learning a particular skill with this ability that doesn't help you with any other character, which is unique in League and is crappy in League.
Is this an ability that is not just a skill shot, but one that you have to anticipate where they're going?
Yes.
Because according to where the footsteps are...
Yeah, it's a shot, so you have to lead the trajectory.
And I haven't been able to figure it out yet. Is the dots in the dead center of the champion?
It comes from where they are, and it slowly spreads out.
Okay. So it's going to be very hard to determine. You won't even know who's there.
You won't know which character.
Well, and the other thing is that while you can determine to some extent which direction they're going, just because they do one step in one direction doesn't mean they won't start moving in the other direction immediately.
That's one thing that League has different than a lot of other MOBAs, is that there's no character turn time, which means it's really easy to juke left, right, or change your direction split second. You know, a character, it doesn't have sort of a fixed direction they're going, because second you click away, they change the way they move.
Not only that, a character could dash, the character could flash, character could, just stop moving.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of modifiers in League to take account for, and that doesn't help you too much. Burrow and unburrow. Burrow is your sustain, and 15 to 30 flat move speed to give up auto attacks and vision. We talked about this last week. It's not that good. Unburrow, a knock-up that you have to run at them for, which we're getting into that next ability. Furious Bite, only good ability. True damage that scales with total AD. Oh my god. This is the thing that makes her a good duelist.
This was old Vayne here.
This is risky business. 240% of your total AD as true damage is incredibly good scaling. That is amazing. But you have to have a full fury for it, which means if you burrow to get your CC, you don't do any damage. Unfortunate. Tunnel, the thing that we said that lets you jump over walls relatively consistently. It's easy to kill.
You don't even have to target, you just walk over it.
Yeah. And the main thing about Tunnel is you have to have one up to use your ulti, which means if you want to have your getaway mechanism, or if you even want to have an easy way to get back to where your teammates are, you basically have to leave a little flag that says, hey, I'm going to be here at some point.
Do not fight in this location.
She seems to have an issue where her tunneling is basically her means of engage, but it's also her means of defense, and she can't
defense
use them.
And getaway, and yeah, if you can't use them all at the same time because the cooldown is just too long.
It's too long, and the distance you go in your tunnel is kind of short.
Now, the nice thing is, since they do last 10 minutes, and you can have up to 8 pairs, if you really build a nest out of the way, I mean, you can set yourself up to get away if you have that foresight. The problem is if you put them out of the way, then when you ulti, which is a big source of your attack speed boon and all that jazz, what are you going to do now? But moving right on to the next ability, her ult Void Rush. The attack speed is nice. It really helps, especially with her Q when you're unemerged. I really wish it had a bonus to AD, so it would benefit your best ability, which is your true damage. But so it goes. You have to channel to teleport.
Other characters have this weird thing called a stun.
You have to channel to teleport, and you will rapidly dash to the target. Now, she does burrow, and she is untargetable, which is a good thing. But then you get there, and you're still burrowed. So you have the option to pop up or fire a missile, but still, you jump blind.
So any form of damage would interrupt the jump as well, wouldn't it?
It's channeled, which means CC will interrupt.
Okay.
So it's not a great getaway, and the problem with it being used as an opener is that you're burrowed when you get there, which means you have to pop up.
And the enemy team can know you're coming because you make that sound when you start heading towards your opponents.
So, awesome true damage. Awesome true damage. No debate there. That's, like we said, she's a good duelist, but she isn't a persistent duelist.
Is it me, or does Void Rush sound like it would be better as one of her standard abilities and not as an ultimate ability? Because ultimately what it's used for is it's used for movement to get across the map, and it's used for attack speed, which, if you consider characters like Nocturne, which have, I believe it's W, and also has the passive attack speed on his ability. I mean, if you look at this ability, the only thing that's sort of nice about it is just that jump, but even still, what is it that this could do that technically teleport couldn't do, except move to the burrow instead.
Now they're trying to get rid of a lot of the global effects. They've been trying to do this since the end of season 3. So it's one of those things where it's like, we don't want global effects anymore. If it is a global effect, it needs to be very, very weak set up, or very weak, or they even get rid of global passives. So it's like seeing them put
global passives are gone.
They're gone. So yeah, it's like, all right, we're gonna put this
Alien.
global effect, but you have to have this very high setup for it. That's not gonna be reliable. So
I don't know. Maybe we're ragging on her. There's probably some strat that works with her that we've yet to see. Because again, she's still relatively new, only a week or so old.
but it's
right now, ugh.
Unfortunately, her kit seems fairly weak. Even her cleave ability seems fairly weak, considering that for the vast majority of the times, except when she's in jungle camps, that cleave is not going to be effective for much of anything.
The thing about the cleave that's nice is that if there's a team fight going on and she burrows in, and she's got another burrow nearby that she can use to escape, she burrows in, pops up, she can get maybe 1 or 2 of those auto attack cleaves off
before the team just
before the team fans out. So if you get a really good setup onto a clustered team, preferably that's already slowed or CC'd, you can do some decent AoE damage.
But your team has to be built around that specific champion.
Yeah.
So, not good. That's what we're trying to say.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give her?
Like I said last week, she's a character that is significantly better when you are with a pre-made. Taking advantage of your blind vision, taking advantage of other characters' ability to increase your mobility, to increase the way you can move, and to give you bonus CC in order to enable your other skills will make her significantly better. Fortunately, from what I have seen, the blindness does not persist if you have another form of vision nearby, which makes her pretty good with wards or if you're moving with a team, which is really helpful for her. But as a character, as a solo pick, no other factors included, she's a 6. She has good true damage. The true damage is amazing, makes the character. Everything else needs work.
I would give her a 5. It's just, there's not enough to make me want to play this champion. When Callista came out, she at least had the cool mechanic of binding to an ally. She had the mechanic of doing her jump dashes with her auto attack. She had something that drew me in. With this, I look at her, I'm like, why would I have fun playing her when I can play other junglers that are more reliable? My Maokai, my Lee Sin, my, Jarius jungle, my Fiddlesticks jungle. They all have at least some sort of CC when I jump into combat that will prevent a player from leaving my death grip.
I would certainly give her a 5 myself, edging near a 6, and the reason why is because for me personally, what I look at when I look at these characters is I look at how interesting the character is, what the interesting designs are, what the uniqueness is behind these characters. And there's some unique ideas here. The idea of burrowing, the idea of having these tunnels and seeing sort of through movement where the enemy is. But the problem is, while those are really cool ideas, this is just not accomplished well enough, and the kit does not come together well enough to make this not only an interesting character, but a character that works well in the game.
One thing that I feel like is kind of bad is for a while we complained about sort of bruiser melee characters where they're like, okay, CC slow and then burst. And she breaks the mold, certainly, but it's like they broke the mold and then they didn't consider that they broke the mold. She's got a steroid, a single target nuke, a weird semi-gap closer that persists, kinda, and then blindness ability. Like, it's like, okay, which one of these is good at the same time? And there's really only 1 or 2 of them that work well together, and the rest are just sort of there.
Right, you need that synergy, and she doesn't have that. Out of her, 7 moves?
Mm-hmm. So, I feel like, as a character, there were places where they took risks, and then they just didn't take the follow-through to keep her competitive. And that's unfortunate, and she will need to be put under the microscope in order to be viable. But that's really it for Rek'sai. We're going to move on over to the Snowdown Showdown.
Yes, the Poro King event. What do you guys think of it so far?
Well, I like it better than all random, certainly.
Yeah, you get the draft ability before you start playing, so you can pick 3 champions that you don't want to see.
Which is good.
And then you get to blind draft, so everybody picks after the 3 bans. And that kind of lets you coordinate with your team. It's like, hey, we're going to go for an all poke champ along with, all the Poros, and we're going to try to dodge and move away from them trying to hit us. So you build around the strategy of having these summoner spells instead of, whatever you feel like playing.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun primarily because the bans are there, which is awesome. You can sort of see which characters are making it unfun and get rid of them, because the whole point is to be fun and to have dominating champions mess everything up. Good thing.
They learned after, what was it, the Ascension event, where there was like 3 characters that you would see in every match, and they would just be so hard to destroy.
It's fun because there's gap closers. You don't get stuck with a melee character and go, all right, well, I guess I'm waiting until team fight phase. You can actually jump in and do some damage and then leave. It's fun.
I forgot for the longest time that the Poro gave you the dash afterwards.
Dash.
And so I just start flying towards enemies. I'm like, where am I going? And I'm Heimerdinger, so you just see Heimerdinger go, ah!
See, this is one of the things that I love about League of Legends, honestly. This is one of the things that I don't see enough of. And it's not just necessarily that this particular game type, but it's all these alternate game types. Ascension, Hexakill, the old versions where they had like the 5v5 of the same characters and like all that. That was these sort of things actually make the game really interesting. Whereas with something like Dominion, you get some gameplay that could be interesting, but it's just a little too repetitive. These things really freshen it up, and I honestly wish that they would sort of cycle these and make them come back and continue to use them, because they almost seem to like bring in these really fun alternatives to Summoner's Rift, and then they just sort of let them go and they don't return.
I would like to see a ranked Ascension. It sounds very unbalanced, but it's exciting to watch. You have this death match, and it's really up to an individual player's dueling ability and his 2v1s and coordination to actually be really good at that map. It's not just spray and pray like you would think. So that would be great to see. And the Poro King is another great example of bringing in new mechanics and stuff we haven't seen before in League, like having the ability to summon this giant Poro that's throwing tiny Poros, dealing 2 damage, and pushing lanes. The only other game I've seen something like that is Heroes of the Storm, and that's their whole mechanic. So League not having that mechanic built into their game, throwing it in, is very, very cool.
Yeah.
But that combined with all the gift giving and the brand new skins, it's really making Snowdown Showdown good, but a little better than last year, certainly. Poro King, I'm not a huge fan of Poros, so I just treat it as a super minion. And
just ignore everything else about it. You just like superimpose like super minions on
giant siege creep. That's right. That's what I'm all about.
So there are 3 icons you can earn this year, and then there are the 4 you can purchase. The 3 you can earn is the Snowdown Stylen. Win a round of League of Legend of the Poro King with a Snowdown skin on. It's the same little icon as they used last year. It's the Candy Cane Catriona sword. So I don't know if there's going to be 2 of those icons now.
Now, do you have to get this with the new Snowdown skins, or can it be the old ones
No,
too?
you can use any Snowdown skin.
Cool.
So as long as you are using a Snowdown skin, they're all flagged for it from last year.
The next one is Friend of the Poros, which you have to tag 5 enemies with the Poro toss, then use the Poro King once, and then win a game of the Legend of the Poro King.
And finally, we have Champion of the Poros, and you have to tag 150 enemies, and then you have to summon the Poro King 65 times.
Wow.
Now, on average, I think you can summon, if you're really good with your skill shots and your team's really good with the skill shots, you summon him about 3 times a match, 3 to 4 times. That's a total of 40 hits from your team. I'm not sure if this is collected by you individually or your team, but that's a lot of Legend of the Poro King.
Looking at a little over 20 games there.
Right. And then you have the 4 icons, or the 5 icons, I should say. For the Poros, you have the Astronaut, the Gentleman, the Battlecast, the Void, and the Ghost. So you can get those for a bundle of 1,000, or you can get them for 250 each, and they are going to be legacy icons, which means they're gone for good if you don't buy them.
So they also don't the icons also change the skins of your Poros in game?
Yes, these icons do change the look of your Poro. I'm currently using the Ghost Poro because no one likes that one.
Aw, it's adorable.
It is adorable. Look at it. Yeah, if you want to check out which Poro skin you will get from this event, definitely check out the promo page. They've been doing a great job actually having these side event pages for all of the events.
Yeah, and it's got very illustrative text and icons. You can really see what everything does. Finally, guys, they are tinkering with the Rune Prison system. So as we're all familiar with, when you're leveling up, you unlock rune slots, and you can purchase Tier 1, Tier 2, and eventually Tier 3 runes, depending on your level. 1 through 10 is Tier 1, 11 through 20 is Tier 2, and
Tier 3 is past that.
Tier 3 is everything past that. So previously you would get, a good amount of Tier 1 runes, and then you would use the rune combiner to bump 5 of those up to a Tier 2, and then same in Tier 3. And you get sort of random stuff, and a lot of times you'd end up recombining runes at max level just to get rid of old runes. And now what they've gone and done is made T1 and T2 runes significantly cheaper, and now you can use more sort of unified runes in T1 and T2, and sort of simpler runes, just so that way you're not taken apart by just dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of different rune types and sort of bogged down. Now, because these runes won't be available, players that already own the T1 and T rune tunes that are being removed will keep them, but new players will not have access to said runes.
It's not going to be a big balance issue because you're not going to be playing in those ranks for too long.
Plus, they're not very strong.
No.
But, cheaper, certainly.
Definitely cheaper, but there's no real way to get rid of the runes now. Yeah, you have the rune combiner being removed, so it's like, I want to kind of get rid of my Tier 1 and Tier 2. I don't want to deal with them when I'm Tier 3 anymore. There's no real way to, shred them or get rid of them in any means now. I would just straight up delete them. But
so it's kind of silly to remove the combiner.
But no one used it.
Indeed. So it goes, guys. Not really crazy. No changes to T3 runes, so no real change to top-level play. But certainly something to look forward to if you have a Smurf or a new player that is joining you. They get to spend significantly less money on runes.
Yep.
Yay! Hooray! We asked a question last week, which was...
What are you guys looking forward to in the 2015 season?
And nobody responded at all. Now, guys, we have been trying a new thing where we put out a question and you guys would answer it in the comment section or on the Facebook or any of that stuff. And maybe you aren't digging it. Maybe we should stick to questions from you guys. But we're going to do one more. And this one's going to be from me. I'm going to see what you guys think. If it works, great. We'll finish it out in December like we planned to. If not, we'll just go back to our old system. But the last question, before we do or die, is going to be from yours truly, Mr. Axis.
Get on with it!
Now, you guys often ask us what our favorite characters or what our favorite style of play is. But I'm going to ask you guys, what has been your favorite skin that has launched at any point in time in League of Legends, Legacy, Vault, Legendary, whatever? Non-legendary skin, what has been your favorite? So post that answer down there, guys, in the comment section. You can send it to emailspecialgaming@gmail.com. Post it on our new Facebook, website, or Twitter, all of which are linked in the information down below. But let us know. I'm wondering if there's a consistent theme amongst you crazy people, or if it's just based on personal taste. But non-legendary favorite skin, guys. Post it down below. We're looking forward to it for next week.
What about you guys? What are your favorite
Oh,
skins?
we've already answered this 1,000 times.
Do you not listen to the
Do you
show?
not watch the show?
I do not.
Oh my god.
I'm a terrible person.
But that's it for official news this week, guys. And for personal news, this has been Axis.
And Water Elemental.
And Bel-Air.
And next show might be a little bit late, guys. We've got holiday stuff coming up, so we'll be pretty busy. But we will try to get content out for you. And there will be some crazy daisy stuff for 2045, I think.
Yes.
Well, see you later.
Happy holidays.
Merry Happy.